So now we're going to move on to this episode segment of the Dog Bark, brought to you by the Chicken and the Dog. And look, man, we've had some comments here and there, but the comments that I think that are worth mentioning, man, are still coming from some of the Texas episodes and even the Georgia episodes. So we had a WL Marley G comes out and says, I'm speaking for all the dog fans when I say we own Texas. We got them for cheap. Smiley face. Now, although I love that comment, I do. And yes, as of 2024, Georgia does own Texas. But if you go back in history before that, I think we were 0-7 against Texas. Something like that. It was not good. So overall, Texas owns Georgia.
Lately, DUI University's been running things, honestly, because Kirby Smart's doing a good thing down there. But Texas, I don't know if they're going to be a team to sleep on this year.
Oh, no, not that's for sure. I don't think so either. Chicken, you got anything you want to say about that?
I find it a balance. I don't find any ownership between either one of these two schools right now. I know that last year Georgia won both those matchups, but with the Longhorns. But again, going back to what we said a few shows ago, you have two largely unproven quarterbacks in Arch Manning and Gunnar Stockton going into this season. But Arch has got the leg up on that. He had 3 starts. He had more quality snaps going throughout the year last year than Gunnar was able to have. If I had to, I'd give the nod right now to Texas, but I still find it a push going into the season. We'll definitely find out at first kick. We'll know. We'll know a lot of stuff.
Dude, 8 weeks, man. 8 weeks for college football. I mean, if that right there does not get y'all's blood pumping, I don't know what would. Maybe
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
That's the magic number of you-know-who, Nick Harbor.
That's right.
He didn't. Did he just go there?
Track star, wide receiver, and excellent individual extraordinaire.
Oh,
hey, this is a side note, but I do want to give a shout-out to one of our customers and one of my good buddies, Jordan Anthony. He just broke the 100-meter record for the NCAA. He was a wide receiver at Arkansas, and he's forgoing his collegiate career to go pro this year. So congrats to him and that. When you said something about track, I just wanted to shout Jordan out.
Man, that's great. We did have another comment on one of the Texas reels that we had. We were talking about why is Texas so rich in players? Is it because of the money or is it because of the history, so forth? And this guy came back and says it's because of Arch Manning. Look, when I made that comment about that, I wasn't talking about the last 2 years, man. I was talking about overall Texas storybook program. Are they rich because of history? And look, man, that program has been rich way before Arch Manning was even born.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's this dude's name?
Nate in Texas.
Nate in Texas. Welcome to class. Welcome to class. Arch didn't go to school at Texas because, I'd really like to build them into something. Maybe we can get bowl eligible next year. No. He went there because of who Texas is.
That's right.
Was and always has been. He wanted to join up with that type of a program to further his accolades, not provide his services to an unknown. So Texas was already rich. The rich got richer when Arch signed on.
That's for sure.
So here's something I have a question about with Arch Manning. This is my only thing, okay? The man played at a private school, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. There's been some good players come out of private school, I guess. I've never seen it, but they have been. And so he put together some good high school tape. He's been at Texas for a while, but, he's played with one of the best offensive lines, the best receivers in the country. Okay, so is he an elite quarterback? If you're to pull him out of that system, to put him in a system where he has to struggle and he has to be that guy to bring the it factor, is Arch Manning that guy? Is he the same dog in him that Peyton Manning did? Or is it just a right time, right place type situation for Arch right now?
That's a great question and a great thought. I look at that in a similar fashion to, and I don't want to have to go pro for this, but for the conversation I will, Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was a system quarterback, one of the best offensive lines in the history of professional football in those 1990s Dallas Cowboy teams. And Troy Aikman ended up with Super Bowls, plural, because of that. You look at Tom Brady, similar situation. One of the things that Belichick, now the head coach at the University of North Carolina, knew how to do was bring in the right free agents to surround his talent with so that they functioned like a well-oiled machine. And Tom Brady looked like football sat and watched him rather than he sitting and studying the game of football, right? He flipped that dynamic. I think that you could say that same thing about Arch. Now, is there raw talent and ability there? I mean, look at the gene pool, right? Like, we know that that exists within this kid. But to your point, do we see it to its fullest potential if he's got to sign on with an Arkansas or with a University of North Carolina? I want to go play for Bill Belichick, right? Like, how does that develop in this young man if he's not sitting at Texas? We'll never know. He's not going to take that step back now and say, you know what, guys, I'd really like to go help App State win next year. That ain't happening. He's definitely not going to go play for the prophylactics over on the West Coast. So we'll find out in the long run, but we'll find out, I think, whenever he signs that big NFL deal and he ends up at one of those NFL franchises that doesn't quite have the line to protect him yet.
Yeah, I will also, my comment to Taylor's question would also be, I think we're going to find out very soon. I think we're going to find out how good he really is in Texas. He's got the weapons around him. There's no doubt about it. Like you wouldn't have, like you said, Chicken at like App State or something like that. But in order for Texas or any, I believe, SEC football or any football team at this point, you're not going to have a mediocre quarterback under center to take you all the way through a 12 right now, possibly soon a 16-team playoff. You better have an elite guy under center. And I think we're going to find out. Can Arch take them to the first round of playoffs? Probably. Can he take them that next step? We'll soon find out.
You know, speaking about elite quarterbacks under center, I just want to turn the page and tell you that I'm looking really, really, really forward to this season of Lenora Sellers, because we are about to see history in the making. I think this man redefines the quarterback position at South Carolina.
Simmer down, pal. We ain't got there yet.
Yeah,
we're coming.
We're coming on that, but I'll wrap up real quick by tipping my hat. I believe it's Paul Feinbaum said here very recently about Arch that you'll notice that with all the pedigree that Arch Manning's got, Quinn Ewers was the guy last year. Quinn Ewers, the undrafted free agent to the Miami Dolphins in the offseason there. Quinn Ewers was QB1 in Austin, Texas, not Arch Manning. So a very valid point that Taylor brings to the table today.
That's for sure. I just got two more real quick that I want to touch base on. The wannabe chef says Google is free. Texas has always recruited at a high level. That's when we were talking about Texas and the recruiting. It says Texas is always free. Texas has always recruited at a high level. And I think that's, in most cases, that's pretty fair. Would I say that in the last 15 to 20 years, have they always been a top five? Nope, they have not. I think they have fell back some. But I think Sark and his ability and his experience, especially under Saban for a little bit and just overall, has elevated them up even higher. But I wouldn't say they've always recruited in the top five, maybe not even always in the top 10.
I was going to say, it really all depends on what you define as a high level. If you want to count from 20 and above, right, that spread from the number 20 recruiting class all the way up to the number one, and Texas has probably largely always been in that mix.
For sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah, they've always recruited at a high level. But if you want to narrow it down, right, to these pedigree programs, let's take it down, I would say, at least to the top 10, right? You've got to exist in that top 10 for a long time for me to say that you've always recruited at a high level. Don't give me just, well, we've been in the top 25 or the top 20 for the last 30 years. That ain't necessarily high.
No, I would say if two schools come to mind that you could say always recruited at a high level, you would have to tip your hat to Ohio State and Alabama. They've always recruited at that high level. I mean,
right.
And
I think you put Notre Dame in that conversation too. Penn State is going to live in that world as well. They're going to bring in those guys constantly, and a lot of that for Penn State, Notre Dame kind of exists in their own world, really, right? Is in that market that they're recruiting. Where else are you going to go? You want to go to Ohio State, or do you want to go to Ohio University down the
Of
road
Miami?
of Miami? Or do you want to go to Cincinnati, right? Like, no, I want to go to Ohio State. I had to go to these other schools. Now, while we're on that subject, and since we're talking about our Gamecocks, let me personally thank Ohio State. And at this point, I'm going to say the Ohio State, which is rare, is very rare. But I'm going to say a personal thank you to the Ohio State University for the biggest flub in the history of recruiting, in my eyes, when you allowed, nay, encouraged a certain young man by the name of Ryan Brewer to come down to the University of South Carolina and make us all Ohio fans at heart because of what that young man brought in professionalism, experience, and sheer want to on the football field. And he beat the Buckeyes twice in the Outback.
Here we go again. I told you guys he's a little extra cocky today. Just a little.
Hey, look, I'm saying thank you. I don't know what more you want from me.
What kind of testimony is it to the program that Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks are have whenever a 5-star recruit like Aaron Nolan flips from being at Ohio State and transfers to South Carolina just to play backup to get a chance to be in Shane Beamer's program? Come on now.
That's right. That's right.
Beamer. One more quick comment, and this is one of the episodes we were talking about NIL, and this guy named Casey says, as soon as I hear NIL, I scroll. Well, buddy, I hate to tell you this. NIL is here to stay. It is part of college football, and, I mean, look, I don't like it probably as much as you do, and so, I mean, I don't mind some of these kids making money. I'm okay with that. NIL is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
No such thing as taking NIL too far, and now that they're talking about selling patches to put on jerseys, I do think now you're starting to let the advertisement take over. You know what I'm saying? Where it's going to be a problem. I do not agree with having patches of Hardee's and this, that, and other all over somebody's jersey during gameplay just because they're getting paid a little extra. Like, yeah, whatever you're doing, keep it on the back end. Let the name and the jersey represent the school they're playing for, and, like, don't make everything all about that one individual, or you're going to take away from that team sport aspect that everybody thinks young men should develop by playing the game of football, period.
That's right. That's right. And the only other thing I'll add to the gentleman that made the comment is if scrolling is your answer to your NIL trigger, go ahead and book an appointment with your rheumatologist because you're going to get that arthritis kicking up in your thumb because it's here. It ain't going anywhere. At best, we can hope that they curtail some things and structure some things to at least keep it inside the lines, but it's not going away.
No, it's not. But that's all I have for the Dog Bark